11 2 13 11 2 13 2 से 2 कर लिया। 8 1 9 बनाए है।
Ruturaj, you can share your screen now.
Yeah, just a second. Sorry.
Yeah, so until then, let me just tell you what the agenda of this meeting is. So we're going to be learning about Git and GitHub, a version control software, and we're also going to make a first pull request. Don't worry, we'll explain what this is. And at the end of it, you'll have a small activity which demonstrates the concept you've learned in making a pull request and all of that, okay? So that's the agenda for today's meeting. Yes, it will be recorded. I think we are going to record it now.
It's being recorded.
Cool.
Okay, so can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Yep, it's here.
Okay. How do I start the screen? Oh God. I'm a boomer, guys. How do I start the slideshow?
Present, click on present, dude. Present here.
Okay. Great. So this is just the introduction to Git, what Git is and what version control is and why it's required. So yeah, again, what is Git? So Git is just version control, which means you can have multiple versions of a particular project in one, like a cohesive manner if you use any kind of version control. So it's necessary because if you can have multiple people then working on the same project and their works will not collide, right? So that's the website you can visit if you want. Okay, so this is the basic Git workflow. Generally, the reason Git is required is so that people don't overwrite each other's work, and you have a good record of what different versions of your project and what version does what, or what the state of your project is in each version. Okay, so the basic Git workflow is to modify the files in a working directory. So you just modify, let's say you write some extra code or you remove some code, stage the files, which means you are ready to then commit your work. Commit is basically, we'll see later also, commit is a way to tell Git that you are sure about the changes that you made. So you stage the files first and then you commit the staged files. Okay, Now there's some important terminologies that you need to understand. First one is called a repository. We also call it repo for short. A Git repository is your project basically, and generally the information about your project lies in the .git directory. So every time you make a Git repository, you will first of all you'll be making a folder or a directory. Inside that directory will be all of your code and another directory called .git, and this .git directory is what will control your main directory, right? So this is the so basically repository is your project, and it will also house multiple versions of your project. Now there's another thing called a commit. Wait, let me look at the chat. Okay, so yeah, commit. So commits are commits are more or less atomic to Git, which means every single change that you make, every single anything you add or remove or change is reflected as a commit. So we saw earlier that you modify stage and then commit. So each commit, every time you commit some changes, you make a commit. So we'll commit as a verb and commit as a noun. So you make a commit, and this commit is basically what describes what was done in that change. Maybe some lines of code were removed, some lines of code were added, and some were changed. Okay, so that's basically a commit. And when you commit a set of changes, you add those changes as final in the branch of the repository. Now, what is a branch, right? So far we've only seen that a commit
Rudraj?
you have.
Yeah, wait one second. Do you guys following a little bit? Like we don't expect.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah, you're going a little bit fast.
talking.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Guys, we
Someone
can
could
post.
speak up or write it in the chat if you have any
you can
doubts.
just write in chat. That's also good.
Yeah, okay, it's fine.
Following. Okay. So yeah, so far what we've if you can show us. Yeah,
Right.
we'll do that. Just a second. Let me just walk you through the theory. So commit. So well, commit is, as I said, it's an atomic. So you know what an atom is, right? It's basically indivisible. So in Git, a commit is more or less indivisible, which means every change that you make and you say that it is final inside your Git repository is reflected as a commit. So yeah, just as Vijay said, every change to the code base is a commit, and the change can be big, change can be small. So we saw that in this basic Git workflow that you can modify any number of files staged together and commit. So every time you commit, you make one commit. So even if you change like 5 files and then commit, you'll make one commit. Or if you change like one line and commit, you'll make one commit. Both of them are treated as more or less equal in Git because commits are atomic. And so far what we've seen is that in your code base you make some changes and you commit, and there is a new commit made, and the commit represents the changes that you made. But now what is branch?
Ruturaj, I think it will be better if we give them an example of a commit. Maybe take an example of their lab and the separate files they have.
Yeah, we are doing that. I think.
Yeah, I guess for now to make it for now, just to make it a bit clear, we could open up a terminal just with a single file. I guess it'll make much more sense.
Okay.
Let's see if I can have a Git repository somewhere. Well, okay, so this is that's fine. Do I have anything? Does any one of you have like a small thing? Okay, I could just do it here. It's fine. So whatever this is, doesn't matter. This is the Circuitverse. I hope you've used Circuitverse. This is the code base of Circuitverse. Now, Circuitverse, this code base is actually a Git repository. So I can just do stuff like Git. I can run Git commands.
Show them the GUI like on GitHub. They'll then understand what a repository is.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. So let me just. Whoa. Okay. So this is basically the circuit verse code base, right? So now if I go into the commits, so this is a repository. Okay, this is a repository. Whatever you're seeing on the screen right now, all these files and folder directories, these are all part of the repository, right? You don't see a .git folder here because GitHub just doesn't show it. It's there, it doesn't show it. So if I go into my local version of this, so you can just basically download this repository, and I have already done that. Now if I do lsal, which will list all the even the hidden files and folders, you will actually see that there is a .git directory there. Can you see that? So that's the .git directory, which controls your entire repository. Now the thing is, now as I said, this is the repository, right? Now if I go into, if I click here, let's see, what does it say? This is master. This is the branch, and there are multiple branches. Like, look at this, a lot of branches, right? So I can just click on any of these branches and I will switch to that branch. So for example, there is this branch called AWS/mail. I click on this, and now you can see that this directory structure updated, because that's the branch AWS mail has all this code. All of this is still the same, represents the same thing. It still represents circuit verse, but those two are different states of the same project, different states, right? So let me go back to master and show you what commits are. You can see on where my mouse is pointing. I don't know if you can see that. It says 1063 commits, right? 1063 commits. I click on that, I'll see all the commits on the master branch, right? On the master branch, these are the commits. So you can see that this is one commit. Let's say multiple listener fix is one commit. And as I said, this is atomic. You can't really split this into different things, but you can click on this and see what all changes were done. So you can see whatever is listed here in green was added. Now in this case, nothing was removed, so you can only see this green part. So this is one commit. These 6 lines of code were added.
Ruturaj, show them a file where there is red also, like some changes were removed.
Yeah, so this seems to be, so this is just red. Do we have anything? Not enough. Okay, this one. So okay, so you can see in this part, this one has wait, so commit is like checkpoints. Yeah, I think you can think of them as checkpoints. Can you show one more example of opening a file locally? What do you mean by opening a file locally? You can open a file just like you open any other file. So just to be clear, a Git repository is just a regular directory. It's nothing special about it. Just the .git directory inside of your project's directory is what controls your entire directory structure through Git commands. You don't need to even go into the .git directory. You need not know how it works. Downloading from GitHub into your system. We will actually show you that. Don't worry. How to clone.
One more thing. The session is being recorded, so when you see the comments, just open it, right? So it will be visible in the recording as well.
What are you talking about? Comment chats?
Yeah, chats. My bad. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll just speak back the question. Okay, yeah. So in this one, as I said, this commit, you can see this is one commit. Okay, this is one commit, and you can see what all changes were made. Now you can see that it's not just one file that has been changed. Multiple files have been changed. This file, colortheme.scss, was changed. Main.stylesheet.css was changed. And here circuit.js file was changed. So it need not be just one file that is changed. You can change any number of files, any number of lines, and you can add that all of that as one commit. And you can see whatever is red has been removed, whatever is green has been added. So you can see. So this is how a commit works. Commit does not store the entirety of files. The commit does not store these entire files. Like circuit.js, this entire file is not stored in the commit. A commit only stores what was removed and what was added. That's it.
Naitik, pull is different. So you don't pull you only work on one repository
Well,
at a
let's
time.
not get into pull.
Okay.
They'll get confused for no reason.
So yeah. So we'll get into that soon.
We'll explain that later. That's a
for a
little
while.
more advanced than just the commits. So yeah, that's it. That's commits. And we also
Okay, so did you guys understand commits till now? Like, don't jump ahead.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
great.
Okay, Ruturaj,
Yeah, so
okay,
as I said, branch, you all saw branches here, right? All of this is on the master branch. These commits, as I showed you, were on the master branch. So it's just a name of a branch. So you can see there's master written over here, and these are the commits inside master branch. Now I can change the branch, and these commits will also change. And you can see the commits also changed. So so branches are basically different. It's like a different snapshots of your repository. Different snapshots. So commits are leaves on branches. Well, I guess you can think of them as like that.
Like no branches share commits. Okay, so each branch has its own.
They can share commits.
Oh,
they can share commits. So yeah, so that's the next point we come to. See, this says when you select a branch in a repository, you select a particular state of your project. As I said, there is different state. Let's say you have to make, let's say, a web application. Then you need to make a front end and a back end, right? You know, front end is what the user sees, and back end is how the data is processed and churned. So let's say you build a back end, and then you make a branch of that back end, and then you build a front end, and then you make a branch on that front end, and this front end branch is both back end and the front end. So something like that. So branches is different states of your project, and branches contain commits. Now technically branches point to commits, so every time, but that's a little difficult to understand. But right now you can think of branches as branches containing commits. Commit itself can be a different branch. Generally we don't say commits are branches. So basically branch can be thought of as, I think you guys have learned pointers in C, right? Have you guys learned pointers in C? You guys have, right? So branch is like a pointer which points to a commit, and the commit points to the next commit, and so on and so forth. And at the end, you get to the topmost commit of that branch. And all these commits, which from the first commit of that branch to the last commit of that branch, determine the state of your project or together. So this one, okay, so this says that the state of your project is a state that the last commit of the branch leaves the project in, right? And this last commit of the branch is called the head. Not very important, but okay. So for now you can think
there's a diagram in the later slides, right? Maybe it'll be helpful for them if you show
this
that.
one.
Yeah.
So yeah, something like that. So as you can see, this is where the branch splits, right? So let's say this is a master branch. You can see the line up line, right? This line above. This is the master branch.
Zoom it a bit. Or screen share, sorry, slideshow maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Is it better?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, so this bit here is the master branch, and this bit here is, let's say, a branch called feature. You can call your branch anything. So this is where the branches were together, like at this point these branches were split. So for now you just look at this area. What does this say? This just says that your repository went like this, and then you created a branch called feature, and in that branch you created, let's say, this commit. These dots represent commits. Okay, so you created a commit here, and now you created these commits on the feature branch and not on the master branch. So they're not over here, they're only over here, right? So you do that. How can a commit be a part of different branches? You have to merge branches for that. See, the thing is that commits are not part of a branch. Branches only point to commits. So when you merge branches, you change the pointer such that all of the commits are in one line. Okay, I don't know if you understood that. It's a little more complicated because you need to know what merging means.
Guys, every repository has one main branch and you don't touch it. Okay. So when you split your branches, like if there is one branch called feature, you start pushing commits onto it. As Rudraj said, the branches just point to the commit, and later on these are merged into the master.
Yeah. For now, ignore this pull request part. We'll talk about it later. But that's the point. You make some commits here, and at the end you merge them with the branch master. And now the master, and at this point here, this point where my mouse is, the master branch and the feature branch are exactly the same, have the exact same commits. So this also assumes that in this time frame, there were no more commits on the master branch. If I say that these two branches are exactly even. So if there are no commits in this time frame, then at this point, the master and the feature branch are exactly the same.
Rudransh, yes. So if there is no difference between the master branch, which is the default branch of the repository, and the branch which you are working on, there will be no changes observed. As in, you are not working on, the changes are already on the master branch, right? You want to push some feature onto the branch which is already there. So that doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah, so a bit more on branching. Well, the whole concept of branch was done. Suppose, think of it this way. You are working on a project, it has like 10 features. You have 10 features working and you want to add an 11th feature. So it will be more safe if you could somehow store the previous code and start working on a new feature instead of adding on the new feature on 10 working features and breaking all of it at once. So we generally tend to branch when you want to somehow save your previous work and it does not get conflicted with the new feature you're trying to add.
Okay, someone also asked if there can be branches with branches from branches. Yes, there can be, but it's easier to think of the branches from branches itself being just one branch. There's nothing different between. There's nothing different.
There's actually
in
no
branches.
difference, right?
Yeah. So if you can you see my pointer? Ishan, can you see my pointer? Mouse pointer?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So at this point, if I create another branch from this feature branch, let's say I call it feature 2, it's analogous to thinking that this feature 2 branch is also the exact same branch until this point. From here, right? Do you understand that?
Yeah, bro, can you hear me?
Yeah, Vijay.
Yeah, so it might sound very, like for some people, very abstract. What is this branch? What is this commit? Why not just, I don't know, change the same file? So let me try to make it a little more intuitive for you guys. I know you hate that word, but okay. So let's say that you're doing a homework assignment between 4 of you, okay? So you have to modify there's a .c file which you should write. So each of you are decided to write one function of each. Okay, that's fair. Now, are you going to keep that file on a Google Doc and edit it? Maybe, but it's not a very wise choice, I would say, because what if someone modifies something which you don't want, or you want to test it once before doing? So what you do is you essentially copy the skeleton code into each of your local machines, edit it, and submit it, and in the sense give it to someone, and they compile it, let's say, and then they submit it, right? So that's basically what this is. So the commit is you removing lines or adding lines, basically adding your functions. That is considered as commit. Now, let's say, for sake of example, let's say Aryan and Aniruddha are in a team. So now Aryan has a file and Aniruddha takes it from him. So Aniruddha makes a branch of Aryan's main code base, and that main code base is called by default master. So Aniruddha has a branch. Now he writes his file and makes a pull request. By pull request, he means that, okay, I'm making these files, check it out, and if it's good, add it in the code base. So it's basically like a set union, right? So if you do a set union, after that, both of the things are the same, provided that Aryan has not made any changes to the code base in that duration of time where both them are working on it. So that's what a commit and a branch is. So basically, commit is adding or deleting files at this time, and branch is making a separate, let's say, copied set of code base such that you're going to add or remove files, and then make it a set union in the pull request. So I hope somewhat intuitive for you guys.
Yeah. Okay, so as I said, so I think whoever asked if there can be sub branches, now do you understand that sub branches are analogous to branches? So there is nothing extra to think about in sub branches.
Yeah, exactly. Sub branches is basically if someone copies from Aniruddha, right?
So yeah, so if you make a sub branch from here, it's as good as making another branch from here, which has these 3 commits as well. Okay, so yeah, so at this point we're only assuming that there is no change on the master branch while all this is happening. But even if there is change, there is so you'll see later that there is not much difference. It just adds those there. If a person making a commit makes a valid one, do you add it to your main branch? So the thing is, person makes commit in a separate branch, right? You generally don't straight up commit to a master branch. It's not a good practice unless you're the only one working on something and you don't care. But generally, you make a different branch. You make your commits there, and then you merge it with the master branch, right? So yeah, if your branch at the end of these commits, let's say you make all these commits at the end, if everything is working just fine, then your commit will be merged onto master. Acha, merge is what we do. If it, I guess yes. Yeah. So we were there. So I hope you understand what branch and commit are. Those are like the 2 most important concepts of Git. Yeah. Now all this, before we get into all this actual getting hands dirty, I'll like to tell you what happens if there are some changes on the master branch. You want to remove something, you just do a different commit and you merge again. Yes, if you want to remove something, you make another commit to remove it and then you merge again. So removing or adding is a change, right? Any change you make, you commit it first and then you merge it if you want. Merging feature into main could also replace the code in main. Yes, it can. And see, for now, there was absolutely no problem because the master branch doesn't have anything on it. Wait, let me try to draw something. Yeah.
Currently, so if there are 11 branches and a person made a branch in say 4 months, so it will change all the stuff. Yeah, it will only be seen on that particular branch in which the changes are made, unless it is merged into the default branch, which is the master branch, which is mostly called the master branch. So if you are making changes on a branch and they are not merged, it will only be reflected on the particular branch.
Yeah.
Right.
On your branch, not on the master if they're not merged. So okay, so let's see what happens. So let's say this line here. Can you see this, by the way?
Yeah,
Rudraj, you can see it.
Okay, so let's say this line is the master branch. I'll call it M, and why do I have to always select this? Can I just and let's say I make another branch here like this. Right, let's call this branch F, feature branch. Now, as I said, there is some commits here. Let's say 2 commits here. Wow, what? Ignore that. Let's say 3 commits here. Right now, now the thing is, we already know what happens if there is no commit over here. These 3 commits just go up there when we merge. When you merge, what happens is your master branch also then has these 3 commits. Oh my God, mouse drawing. And your feature branch also has these 3 commits. Well, okay. So do you follow this? That if there is this master branch, there's this feature branch, and when you merge it, what happens is all these 3 commits show up on the master branch.
It's exactly like Vijay said. It's like taking a union of the 2 branches.
Yeah, it's like taking a union.
I guess this diagram is pretty good to explain a conflict also, Rudraj.
Yeah, that's what I'm going at. So can I just add a page? Now, let's say there were commits in that time frame. Someone changed the master branch. Let's say someone made another branch and then merged some commits by the time you were doing your commits on your branch. So what happens now? Let's say this is the master branch and this is your branch, right? Oh God, Okay, so now let's say if there is a square commit, I don't know if I can make a square on this. Okay, so let's say this one commit here was made by the time you were making your own changes, and this commit is not in your branch. Okay, this commit is not in your branch, it's only in the master branch, it's not on the feature branch. But these 3 commits are only on your branch and not on the master branch. So in this case, we say that your branch is 1 commit behind and 3 commits ahead of master. Okay, this is called being 3 commits ahead because you have 3 extra commits, and 1 commit behind because you have 1 less commit than master branch. Are you following so far? Just say yes if you are following. Okay, great. So if you have something like this, and now you want to merge something, now it depends on what this commit does, right? If you made changes in files that this commit does not touch, then there is no problem. You will be able to just add your commits on top here, right after this commit. Merging adds the commits on the top of the current state of the branch. So merging into master will add any commits to the top of the master branch, so which is after this commit. So at the end, your state will look something like this. This is the square commit that someone made, this one, and then you'll have your 3 commits here in the same order, right? And this is your branch, which also has these 3 commits, and that's how it will look. Yeah, that's how it will look. So there's no problem. Once if this part changes something that these commits do not change, it need not even be in a different file. Even in the same file, if it changes something which you're not changing, you're not touching, then there is no problem. Your commits will just get added on top of this, whatever the state is at this point. So this is good, right? So this is called merging. This is what happens when you merge. And if at all this commit changes something that you're also changing, so in that case, something called as a conflict arises, and you have to fix the conflict manually. So you need to choose which of these 2 you want to take. Let's say here someone writes int main, here you write void main, and then there's a conflict, right? Because these 2 commits are trying to change the same thing in a different manner. In that case, you'll have to you can't just merge. Your merging will be prohibited, and you will have to manually go and choose either of them and then merge. That's a little more advanced, but just to let you know what happens if you change the same thing in 2 commits, then you have to manually go and choose which one you want to keep.
That basically you need to work on the cloned repository which you have locally, like which the branch is working on. If you could either put it as int main, or just keep void main and request them if you have some valid change to put.
So generally conflicts don't arise if you're working on a big enough project or whatever. So it's not something to very much be worried about. But yeah, that's what happens. If there is any similar changes in 2 commits, then you'll have to fix the conflict on your own. So did you understand this?
Another thing, why it doesn't happen on bigger projects, because when you work on some issue, like if you're trying to fix a bug, you get assigned to that particular issue, so there is very less chance that there is another person who is also fixing a bug and it involves the same files as you. So you are essentially working on some different files as the other person. So when you issue a pull request to add your commits in your branch into the master branch of the main repository, there won't be any conflict. Got it?
Okay, they got it. Okay, so Rudraj asked, what if they change the same thing? If they change it to the same thing, then it's not a problem. If they change it to the same thing, then it's not a problem, because then the next commit is just nothing, right? That's what I think. How to add code from your terminal to GitHub? Yeah, we'll get to that. Wait. So Ishan, can you now get to this? Will you explain this part? Okay. Creating a GitHub? Yeah?
Okay, sure.
Okay.
like okay, so I'll show you how to create a repository on GitHub. So let's go to Git. I'll share my screen first. Hang on.
Someone asked if there are two branches which and none of them are master, can you still merge them? Yes, you can merge any two branches. There is nothing special about master branch. It's just generally the main default branch which has the most updated code is generally called master.
Okay, so the best way for you guys to understand is go to GitHub. So can you guys see my screen?
I think if you zoom it, it'll be better.
Okay, sure.
Control plus.
Yeah, one second. Is it better now?
Yeah, good.
Okay, so all you could do is best way to create a repository is to the GUI, like not using that. We'll get into the terminal part soon. So so to create a repository, you first need to add a repository name. So most of the times let's take this name for now, upgrade spoon, and the description sample get repo. Okay, so after adding this, you could either choose to make the repository public. So what public means is that everybody who could see the repo on your profile, as in it's publicly visible, and private is you could just choose to work on it personally, and like you're not involving anyone else, or you want to hide it for now. This is basically used when you're working on something on a personal project, and then you could choose to make it public later. So it's not like if you're making it private, you can't change the visibility, right? So let's add a no, okay, I'll just create a repository like that. So you can create a repository. Okay, so now it will show you how to add changes. Okay, so this is the best way. Like when a lot of times I forget, so what I do is I just follow these instructions. So let me open a terminal. Oh, can you guys see the terminal? Right?
No, I think you just shared your browser instead of the whole screen.
Okay, one second. Cool. Can you see it now?
Yep, it's here.
Yeah, so I'll go to desktop. Let's create a folder called sample. Okay, and now I'll just cd into sample, and then I'll create a readme.md. Okay, so touch readme.md. Okay, so what I've done is I have created a file. Okay, I could show it to you guys. See, it's just a sample text file. Okay, so I'll just add hello world.
Yeah, guys, by the way, this MD means markdown. It's basically a syntax formatting language kind of thing. We've put a guide for that in something that
Okay,
you'll see very
so
soon. So
now I've made the changes here. Okay, so can you guys see the changes also? So I've just saved it like that, and now I will be pushing these changes onto GitHub. So how do we do that? See, all we do is we initialize a Git directory like this. Okay, so initialize an empty Git repository in desktop sample.git. So when I do ls, it doesn't show it. Okay, so as Uttaraj said, I'll have to do ls/l to show all the hidden directories also. So here there's .git. Okay, now so as somebody was talking about staging, right? So what staging does is you're essentially just specifying where you have made the changes, or you want to or which files you have worked on, and you specify those files on which you have worked on using the add command. So I worked on add readme recently, so I'll just add it. Okay, are you guys following till now? I'm not going fast, right? Okay, cool.
So just one tiny detail. So after add, you just put any a directory or a file name. So in this case, why are you opening HTOP, man?
No.
Yeah, okay. So in this case, yes, in this case, as you can see, Ishan has added readme.md. So that's one file that is now added to this, to something we call a staging area. Okay, so it has been added. Now you can also add a full directory to it, right? So whatever changes are made in that directory, whatever files have been changed, that those will be added automatically.
Okay, so another thing, a nice way to just know where you have reached, like in the process, you could just put git status. So what it says is you have created a new file and you still have to, you are yet to commit the changes, right? So I have just added this file, and what git would do is just it would monitor the changes on this file and only count, like if I had not, let's say if I had some another file called a.txt, okay, I'll just create another one. So when I do git status now, it will say that this file is untracked. Got it? So readme.md is being monitored and a.txt is not being monitored. So when I push the changes onto GitHub, it will only reflect readme.md and it will not show a.txt. Okay.
So basically, whatever is green will be committed if you want to commit. Right now, you have to first stage your changes and then only you can commit them. Right now, he has only staged readme.md, so he can only commit readme.md. He cannot commit a.text. If he wants to commit a.text, he'll also have to add that to the staging first.
Right. Okay. So now I'll commit.
Yeah, so just a quick pause. Some people in the chat are asking about staging. So basically what staging is, think of it as a virtual arena where you put your files that you are serious about committing. So there can be two types of files you're just playing around in, or there can be another type of file that you're serious about committing when you go on further. So the files that you're serious about committing, you put them in a new place called the staging area. And files reach the staging area when you do git add. So git add is the command that pushes the files into the staging area. Yeah. So once they're in the staging area, they're ready to be committed. Else they will not be committed and not be pushed, like Ishan said.
Yeah, so you can just think of staging area just one step before committing. So if you want to commit something, you have to first stage it. You can't just commit it like that. So, so you can, whatever is green right now is stage, red are not stage.
So this is red and this is green. Okay, so moving on, you could, got it? Is this clear till, are you following till now? Okay, well done. Okay, cool. So so in a commit, we add something called a message, which tells us what the commit is about. So a commit's message should be meaningful. It should essentially summarize what changes you have made. So I could just say git commit -m. So the -m flag here tells Git that we are subsequently writing a message which is part of the commit. Okay, so I can say added readme, and there is no format for the messages. It should just be meaningful. Okay, just make sure that these messages are meaningful. Now, okay, so now it would say that it's a root commit. It's added the commit's name or is added readme, and it says only one file change, right? Because I've staged only the readme file, not a.txt. And create mode is basically
that's not required. No. It's just it's very like core git in the .git directory. You don't need to worry about what that does. So as you can see, there's also one thing written, one insertion. So he's only inserted one line, right? That one line, yeah. .text is not added to the repository.
So now I could I could specify which branch I'm committing on, but I'll like to keep it master for now. Okay, so you could actually specify which branch you want to commit, but I'll not get into that right now. So what you need to do is, now you need to add an origin. So what origin means is, it is basically adding the link to the repository on which you want to push a commit.
So it's like adding a link between your local Git repository and the one on GitHub.
Correct.
In this case. So
so I'll just copy this. So you could just copy this and git remote add origin HTTPS, and this is the link to the Git repository. Okay, so it has added the origin, and now I could actually show you the origin. Wait, hang on. See, so you guys can see where we need to fetch changes from, and where we would push changes onto. Okay, so there is something called upstream also, and we'll get into that later.
yeah. So just one more, one more thing. I wanted to add that when you said git remote add origin, so origin here is the name of whatever this is. So you can see that github.com/megabyte upgraded spoon.git, right? So that's basically the link to the Git repository on GitHub, right? So before adding this remote, you were only doing Git on your local machine. There was nothing about GitHub anywhere, right? Everything you're doing is locally on your own computer. As soon as you add a remote, which means you're adding some variable which connects to GitHub. So in this case, that's just a link. That's just a link to your repository, and it's called origin. Origin is just a name. You can name it anything, but generally, wherever you like your own repositories, you generally name them origin. But it can be anything.
Now I'll push the changes. So just push the changes is basically you are adding the commit onto the branch. Okay. So if I type git status now, it will only show that this a.txt is an untracked file, and it doesn't show if the push has been made yet. Okay, it's just saying that the commit on. So I recently made a commit, right? And this commit only tracks the README file. So now when I do git push, it will reflect the commit onto.
Wait, Rishan, wait! Don't push it. So just so they know that right now a.txt is still red because we've never staged it, and readme.md is gone from staging because we've already committed it. Right. So there is nothing green because nothing is in the staging area at the moment. What was in the staging area has been committed, and what was never in the staging area is still not in the staging area. And also there is some doubts by people. Can you show again what commands you wrote?
Can you please
I think you don't worry about commands. You can refer to the slides. We'll give you the slides.
Exactly,
All the commands are in the slides.
Yeah. So git add readme md as
that's the command.
Jagdish, what will be? Bhaiya, can you please show? Oh yeah. Okay. So that's done. So we'll just push the changes now. So when you say git push, now you need to specify the origin. Okay, and I've added the origin here. So origin is basically the repository on which I'm going to push changes on. So you could
on GitHub.
On GitHub, right? So now I will specify the repository and the branch. So the branch is master.
So can we say,
I need to add the.
Yeah, Ishan. Before that, someone has a doubt, I guess.
Okay, so can we say only push the stage part? That is the green. Yeah, exactly.
No, wait. No. Don't push the stage part. You can only push whatever you've committed. You can only push commits. As I said, commits are the only atomic thing.
After staging the part, you need to add a commit, and then it's pushed. This is the process. So stage, commit, push.
So you only push commits. You do not push anything else. You cannot push anything else. You can only push what has been committed.
and in order to commit it, it has to be staged first.
Yeah, it has to be staged first.
Correct.
You cannot push anything directly from the staging area. That's not
Wait, I'll
possible.
show you. Let me push the changes. I'll show you what happens when you don't follow the process. Okay.
Yeah.
So then I'll
Also, yeah. So just to tell you what's happening right now is when you say git push, you're actually saying, okay, whatever commits that I have just made, just add those commits onto my GitHub repository as well. Because right now, all the commits were on my local computer, but with the git push command, I want those commits to also go to my GitHub. That's what we're doing. So this is basically analogous to uploading. Yeah.
Right. So
And
have you guys followed till now? Okay. So so when I reload, it will actually show the readme.md file. See. Readme.md hello world. Is it visible?
Yeah.
Yeah, continue.
So you can see that it's now on GitHub as well.
Okay, so I'll now show you guys what happens when you try to commit without staging. Okay, so I have only now I'll directly use the git commit command. Okay, so when I say git status, it will say that this is an untracked file and I need to use git add so that this file is staged. Okay, so when I directly say git commit -m add a.txt, see, it say on master branch untracked files. So you can't commit on a file which hasn't been staged yet. Nothing
Just
added to the commit, but untracked files present.
Yeah, Ishan, just 1 minute. Karanveer, no, you just creating a file doesn't stage it. You have to explicitly stage it, and for that you use git add. So creating a file doesn't stage it.
Right.
Yeah, I think he got it at the end. He said git add to stage and git commit to commit. And push to
That's
push.
absolutely right, Karanveer. Yeah. Okay. So now I'll need to stage it. So git add a.txt. Okay. So now it's staged. So status. See, now it says that changes to be committed. A lot of times when you get lost, you can use git status, and there's no issue in that. Okay. So now what it's saying is that this file is yet to be committed. So I'll just add some changes onto it. Oh wait. Sorry.
Before that, Ishan, there is some doubts. How does it know that you wanted to add a text file to show error? Now, it doesn't know what you want to add. It will just show everything, all changes that you have made and have not been staged. It will just say, okay, these are the changes that you made and they are not staged. What do you want to do? It doesn't know that you want to stage a.text.
Yeah, Naitik touch is a command that just basically creates an empty file.
Touch is a Linux
Yes,
command. It's
touch,
nothing to
yeah,
do with
touch
Git.
is a
It's a
Linux
Linux
command.
command.
It just creates an empty file.
Empty file, yeah.
Okay. So now I need to commit the changes, right? So now it would say added a.txt, right? So it says, oh, okay. So yeah, another thing. So I made the changes onto the file after I said git add dot, right? So whenever you make changes, first ensure that you have made the changes onto the file, and then you stage the file. So you can't stage the file before making changes onto it, right?
Yeah, as soon as you make more changes, it will be unstaged automatically.
Yeah, see, because it says 0 insertions, but I just added hello world onto it. So now I'll stage it again. So git add dot a.txt. And then I'll just use the previous command that says get added a.txt, and now it's specifying 1 insertion. Now,
Also, there's someone asking, we can stage multiple files, but whatever is staged will be in one commit. Yes, that's
yes,
right.
exactly.
Whatever is staged before you, as soon as you write git commit, whatever is staged at that moment will be all inside one commit.
So no, so when you stage 5 files, it doesn't make sense to you can't do that. Shivang.
So you just unstage the rest
So
other
you'll
4
have
and
to
commit, and
unstage
then
all of them, right?
Yeah.
you
so
unstage, let's say,
why
the
staging all
4
of them,
files.
right?
You make a commit, then you stage those 4 files. You make another commit, like that.
Now again I'll so when I say git status, it will say on branch master nothing to comment and working tree clean. So I don't have any other changes on the files. So what I could do is just push it onto the repository. So I'll specify the repository by origin. So you don't need to add the link again. So you get it why you're naming the repository using origin. And this is by default. You can't change the name, right? Okay, so now I'll specify the branch on which I want to commit to, master again. So here I'm using the terminal, and I need to write the username again and again. On VS Code, you have plugins where you don't need to
GitHub
write
itself.
this
You'll
stuff
have a
again.
commit history,
Just links it.
and you can see all the commits there.
So the commit has been pulled onto the master branch, and now when I reload, it shows a.txt. Hello world. So have you guys followed till now?
Ishan, am I
Yeah.
audible? Yeah, so people are asking about how to do the previous commits. So you could show them the commits tab in GitHub and as well as git log, I think.
Yeah, you can use git log, but git log is a little difficult to go off.
Show them in the GUI only. It's more intuitive.
Yeah. The GitHub's commit system is like great. It tells you exactly what was changed and what was removed. Yes, you can also use git log.
Let me show the commits. So on the GUI, you can just simply view the commits here. So 3 commits. Okay, so why is it saying 3 commits till now? Okay, I staged the file, but I didn't. I staged the file before pushing changes onto it, but still I pushed the commit, right? So when you stage the file, it doesn't check if you have made changes onto it. Do you guys get that? Because in this commit, it won't show any changes.
Let's not get into it, Ishan. That will be confusing. So there is this thing called tracking. If you create a new file, then it will be untracked, and then you can track it. But all that is very, very not necessary right now. Just know that whenever you make a change, you first stage that change, then you commit that change, and then you can push that change.
See, so when I use git log, it's saying author. So author is the person who has pushed the changes, and the date, and the summary of the commit, which is the
commit
message, right?
So you can also see the top commit, whatever next to the top commit, there is a head master, which tells that that's the head commit for the master branch. And as I said, head commit is the last commit on the branch.
No, sorry guys, just give me a minute. There's some disturbance in the background.
Okay, so someone said that so by pushing we are just merging the branch to the master branch, right? So
No.
Not really, yeah. So the master branch is on his local machine. Right now there is only one branch, so whatever he commits, he's essentially working in his own branch only. He's not merging anything. GitHub has the same image of your branch on your computer. When you push it, it gets updated. That's it.
So the thing is that in this case, he just made changes to master branch and pushed. As I said, that is only fine if you're the only one working on something. So he just made changes to the master branch, and he straight up pushed that to the master branch. So there is no need of merging anything because he just pushed to master branch. If he had created another branch and pushed to that other branch, then he would have to merge that other branch onto master later.
Okay, guys, I think we have lost track of time here. So I think we can start with poking now. Rutraj, would you like to show the forking part?
You can show it. It's just there's one button click, right? Can you just show it?
Wait, okay.
Until then, I'll just answer some doubts if they have any.
Cool. I'll do that once again.
So someone asked, we merge branch and we push commits. Yeah, basically, but they're not the same thing. Merging is when you already have some commits on a different branch and you want to put those commits from one branch to another branch. In the thing about pushing is you just push it in the same branch. You push stuff from your local part of the Git, which is your own computer, to some remote, let's say GitHub. That's pushing. Merging is done. You can do merging from local to local as well. One branch on your computer can be merged onto another branch on your computer, or one branch on GitHub can be merged with another branch on GitHub itself.
Okay, so do you guys have any more doubts for now, or we can proceed? If we added a whole new branch, then can we tell is it a commit for master branch?
What? I didn't get the question either.
If we added a whole new branch, then can we tell is it a commit for? No, dude. So when you're creating a new branch and you're committing onto it, the change would be reflected on that particular branch and not the master branch. Okay.
Yeah. So the master branch doesn't know that you made a new branch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anything
They're
the
not
master
linked.
knows, that's through a commit, but
See,
the master doesn't know you made a branch.
Yeah, that's why you need merging, right? Because there is no link between any two branches. You can't just say, since I created another branch from master, that any changes I make it to that branch will reflect in master. That's not how it works. That's why you use merging. Whatever changes you make in that new branch, then you can merge into master branch if you want to.
Cool. So let's proceed. Okay. So what is forking? So Rudraj, you could start. I'll just continue with this. You can meanwhile explain what forking is.
Yeah. Okay. So forking is basically creating your own version of whatever repository there is. So on GitHub, there's a lot of repositories, right? And you might want to work on some of the repositories. Now, but the thing is, you don't have permissions to straight up go ahead and change code for, let's say, some project, right? So let's say since you've already worked with Circuitverse, right? You worked on Circuitverse for your digital design assignments, right? So let's say you wanted to work on Circuitverse. You wanted to do some changes to the code. So you can't just I think Ishan, can you just explain clone before forking so that we can explain?
Oh yeah. Better? So what clone is just creating
it's like downloading. It's like
downloading, right?
Yeah.
It's like downloading. So you are not actually telling the owner that you are making a copy of his work. So you are making a copy of his repository by just simply downloading it onto your computer. So if I see what I can do is, see, cloning here will just download this repository onto my machine. So let's say I cloned it like this. What you just to clone the repository, you just say git clone and then you add the link to the repository. Okay, so I can show you guys what happens when I click. See, it's just adding. It's just a link to the repository. You guys get it? So what that particular link is?
We can't see your thing. Can't see your terminal.
No. I just showed them what the link is. Like this particular link.
Yeah.
Okay. So now when I download it this way, you could download it by just saying git clone. So what it would do is it would just create a copy of this repository onto your machine. Okay, but here's where the difference comes in. So
show them ls, show them with ls.
Okay, so ls. So see, the repository has now been downloaded into a folder called
Julius. You can go inside.
So let me go into it. Okay, so this is what I've done. I've just downloaded the code base onto my computer. Okay, but the difference here is that I can't. I could make changes onto my local machine, but I can't push it onto the main repository because I haven't forked it.
See, the thing is, you might not have permissions to straight up push it on like something.
Exactly. So the
as
repository is owned by somebody else, right? So you can't just push the changes onto the repository, right? So I've just basically downloaded it. It doesn't contain it doesn't allow me to push changes onto the repository from where I have made from the origin repository. So somebody could explain better. Pranjal?
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I'll try. So the thing is, whenever you clone something, what you're doing is you're just taking that repository and you're just basically downloading the code. Now the thing is, now you saw that we created basically hit control something like that. But the only difference is that it's a Git repository this time. Git has already been initialized on it. So, and origin, as we saw, we previously set a remote, right, called origin. Do you remember that? So we said that that's how you link your local Git repository to some remote repository, let's say on GitHub. So we saw that that's how you link through a remote, and we call that remote origin. So that origin is already set when you clone. So you can show them, Ishan, Git remote v. So you can see that the remote origin has already been set. We did not set anything, right? We just executed git clone. So you can see that origin has already been set. We can commit on someone's code and the repository owner. I'm reading from the chat, by the way. We can commit on someone's code and the repository owner has the authority to push our commit. Is that so? Now that's the thing. Now you can't directly commit on other people's code if you don't have permission, and you'll most likely not have permission. Okay, so you can't just commit on other people's repositories like that on GitHub, let's say. So on GitHub, you can't just let's say clone Circuitverse and make some changes on the code base and push it to Circuitverse, right? That's not allowed, obviously, because otherwise you'll just make changes to the master branch and sabotage everything. Right. So
so actually I could have shown that I could have made changes, but the issue is that I am owner of the repository.
He has rights to push that.
Yeah, so that would just not confuse you guys more. So I
think I can do that. Wait, should I do it? Do we have time?
No, you are also an owner.
No, I'll do it on Defender.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
We're going into depth, so yeah, it's fine. We'll just walk you guys through the activity after this, so you guys can try it afterwards. And I'll also share. I'm recording this, right? So maybe we'll post it onto YouTube, so you guys can then start.
Yeah, guys. We just started a new YouTube channel, so we'll upload all of these recordings of the sessions and all over there. We'll send you the link.
Wait, should I screen share then?
Hang on, I'll stop sharing.
Okay, so yeah, this case, this is Vijay's some repository, and let's say I go into let's say desktop, and here I just say git clone, right? As we already saw that's the command git clone, and clone, right? So this will just clone that repository. So basically, I've downloaded the repository. It's called Christmas Express. So I'll just go into it, and you saw that this is not my repository. Okay, so this is Vijay Jaisankar / Christmas Express. So it's Vijay's repository, and I do not have permissions to commit or to push commits directly into it, right? So as you can see, if I change something, let's say I'll just do it from here.
Just change the README now.
Yeah, so let's say I have thing here, and I just sabotage it, and
oh god, that's harsh.
Okay, so I do some crazy stuff, and then I go back. I say git status. I'll see that in red it says modified readme.md. That's what I did, and now I'll stage it. Git add readme.md. That staged it. Oh, sorry, git status. So that staged it. It's green now, right? And then I'll just say git commit message. Okay, and now it's committed. It says 1 file change, 1 insertion, 44 deletions, because I just removed everything. Okay, so now if I try to say git push origin, now as I said, whenever you clone repository, origin remote has already been set. So you can review it by git remote tag v. That will give you. So this is the origin. This is where I cloned from. So this is already set. So now if I try to do git push origin master, so what this command says is git push which origin do I push to? Origin. So which remote do I push to? That remote is called origin, and which branch in that remote do I push to? I say push to the master branch on the remote. Right. As soon as I say that, this is.
Oh, check the name of the branch. I think it's not master then.
Yeah, I think it's called main now, no? Yeah, it's called main now. Yeah. So just the thing. So yeah, okay. So as I said, the name can be anything. In this case, the name is main. I try to push it. It will ask me for my GitHub username. I'll put my own GitHub username and password. Wait, I don't remember my password or what. Okay. See, it says permission is denied. Permission to this repository is denied to me. So you can't push to repositories that you don't have permission to push to. So it says unable to access 403. Yeah. So that's why you need to fork to make your own version of the repository. So I think Ishan can show you. So Heath asks if after stage next is always to commit. Yes, next is always to commit. Or if you want to make further changes, you can make further changes, but Git will automatically reset the file. So let me just quickly show you now that I'm doing it anyways. So so in the README, let's say I add something, okay, and when I do it, I go to git status. You see that it's red. I git add README. Okay, I say git status again. It's green now. But if I change anything again here, I add something here. If I do that, it'll automatically get unstaged. Right. So that change is still it's not staged. So basically, if I just commit right now, whatever without this will get committed. Right. So if I want to commit this, I'll have to add it again. And now it's green, and now I can commit it. We can create a pull request. Someone asked. Yes, we can. We will explain pull requests later. Let's not confuse everybody.
Ruturaj, could you unshare? Now I'll show them.
Yeah. Sorry. I forgot. God, which one? Okay.
So Ruturaj, somebody asked, why do we clone instead of forking?
Wait, how do I stop sharing? Is this how? Did I stop sharing?
Yes, yes.
Okay. What?
So somebody asked, why do we clone instead of forking?
Why do we clone instead of fork? Now, the thing is, forking only forks it onto the remote. So if you fork on GitHub, you will have your version of the repository on GitHub. So at the end, you'll have to download it to your computer, right? So that downloading is cloning. So you clone it. So even if you fork, you'll have to clone your. So as I said, forking creates your version of that repository. So you'll have to clone that your version of your repository to your local machine as well.
Okay, can you guys see
what is the use of GitHub? Well, GitHub is like Facebook, right? You have photos. Why do you need Facebook if you have photos? You want to share those photos, right? So you want to share code, you put it on GitHub.
Yeah. Okay, so I had forked this repository. So this is it says already. Did you guys see when I forked it? I don't need to show it again, right? Because I'll have to then delete it and then do it again. It's fine, right? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So see, so this is the forked version of my repository. So what this does is it's basically allowing me to push changes onto this this version of the main repo, which is Zens/Juniors Git tutorial. Okay, so what I will be doing is I will be pushing changes or commits onto this repository, which is the forked version, and then I could push the then I could create a pull request so that these commits are compared with the main repository, that is the Juniors Git tutorial repository, and then it is merged. So that is what I will be showing right now. See, as another thing. So this branch is one commit behind Zens.js pages because somebody just pushed the commit recently. So okay, so I'll continue. So fork is not branching. So what fork does is it basically creates a copy of the repository onto your account. So why are we doing this? So that see, we have permission to push changes onto any repository that we own, right? So the forked version is the repository that we would be owning, and we could push changes onto it, and these changes could then be used to create a pull request. You guys, are you guys able to follow this? Somebody type in the chat. Okay, cool. So see, so cloning is basically just downloading, but when I clone this repository, it will allow me to push changes onto the forked one. This is basically what I'm doing is I'm cloning the forked repository. Okay, can you guys see my terminal? So I'll delete the previously cloned repository, which was simply the main one or the Juniors Git tutorial. Okay, so I'll just delete it. Okay, so now when I clone it, it's basically downloading it.
So you saw that he cloned from his version of it. So he cloned from his fork this time, not the actual repository on Zen's account.
So now I will cd into the repository. See, it's been downloaded here. I will now cd into it. Okay.
Someone asked what RM is. RM is used to delete stuff.
Remove.
RM stands for, that's a Linux command, again, nothing related to Git. It's just Linux command.
Okay, so now when I say git remote v, see this, the origin is my version of the repository. Okay, now I will be adding another remote called upstream. So upstream is basically the main repository from which I have cloned, right? Okay, so to add a remote, I will say git remote add upstream, and now I will copy the link to this repository. So this is the link to the main repository, which is Juniors Git tutorial, which I have forked onto my account. Okay, so
again, here upstream is just another name. Like we had the name origin for so in this case Ishan has origin for his fork of the repository and upstream for the main repository on Zen's account, right? So again, origin and upstream are just names. You can put them as anything, but these are just standard names that everyone puts in.
See now, so upstream is basically the link to the repository from which I have forked, and origin is the repository which is the fork version of this upstream repository or the main repository. Are you guys able to follow? So you added upstream to main one. Sorry, I didn't get
Okay, so I guess Rudransh is a bit confused here. we didn't add anything to the main one. It's like a list. So there is a list in which there is one for main, and main points to your forked version. Upstream points to the version that was the original one. You forked the original one and stored it. So they are two different remotes. They point to two different places.
I think Rudransh is confused about branches. So the thing is, these remotes, origin and upstream, do not point to branches. They point to the entire repositories. You can select a branch inside a repository, right? So they point to the entire of repositories, not any specific branch.
Okay,
Is origin upstream is a repository, or it points to a repository.
Yeah, that's correct. Right. Upstream refers to the main repo. Correct. Okay, so now what I will do is I will make changes.
Also note that Ishan doesn't have, well, in this case he has, but ideally you will not have permission to push to upstream straight up, right?
Yeah.
You will only have permission to push to
changes
origin.
Onto the origin repository, which is the forked version of the main repo. And from there, I will create a pull request to the main repo. Does this make sense now?
Could you tell the difference between origin and upstream again? Yeah. So origin is, again, origin and upstream are just names. But in this case, what origin points to is Ishan's version of the repository called Junior's Git tutorial. Okay. So the main repository exists on the account called Zens. You can see there, it says on the upstream, the link next to upstream says github.com/Zens/Junior's Git tutorial. So yeah, origin is the forked version. So origin,
Rituraj, could you give an analogy with a company and let's say a person employee? That'll be easier for them to understand.
Company and
employee.
Okay. So I think Bhaiya is saying that
like let's say Circuitverse is your company or whatever.
Yeah. So it's So basically, it's like saying if I'm an employee in a company. So let's say in this case, Zens is the company and Junior's Git tutorial is a project that you're working on. Now, company won't let you straight up push whatever changes you want to make onto the actual company's code base, right? Which everyone uses. They will want you to first take the copy of that code base, make changes in there, and then ask the company to add those changes into the main version, right? So once when you want to ask the company to add those changes, you create something called as a pull request, and pull request is just a request you make to the company saying, hey company, please merge my branch onto your main branch. So then company merges your branch. So as you know what merge does, right? It just adds the commits onto the company's code base, say. So the company then accepts the pull request and merges those commits onto their version of the branch.
Okay, just to clarify a bit on Rudransh's question, origin and upstream are just words, but they are like standard words.
Standard words.
I could also name them as breakfast and lunch, but people that are looking at the repository, they wouldn't understand what breakfast and lunch are, right? Yeah. So these are a couple of standard words that people refer to. Like generally upstream refers to the main one, origin generally refers to your forked version. So we keep it in that naming convention.
So for example, I generally don't name something as upstream. I name that by the name of the organization. So let's say if I had a Circuitverse forked for myself, I will have origin pointing to my version of Circuitverse, and I put CV pointing to the Circuitverse version of Circuitverse. Instead of upstream, I've written CV. So you can write anything. It's completely up to you. These are just some standards that everyone happens to use.
Cool. Okay, so I'll show you an example. So now so this is a blog website. Okay, let me show you the website first. So here is the website. So and this is a website we have made for you people. So what you can do is just create one blog about yourself here.
Bro, not this post, bro.
No, this is a sample post.
A sample, okay.
Yeah, so this is a sample post, and we have also posted instructions onto the first. instructions onto the first blog. So you can, if you guys are not able to follow, just have a look at this post, and if you're not, if it's not very clear, don't worry, we will make changes onto it. So what I will be doing is just following what this instruction says. Okay, so till now what I've done is I've forked the repository, I've cloned it, add your files in the right format for the purpose, right? And add your name, personal details, profile image, links and all. Okay, and then commit and push changes and confirming the pull request. That's all you have to do. Okay. So now, okay, so can you guys see my editor? It's visible, right?
Yeah, continue.
Yeah, okay. So I'll create a new post here. So guys, and you have to be very specific about the format here. If you don't follow the format, the website build would not would just fail. So what this means is that if you don't follow the format, the website won't be able to build properly.
Yeah, and also we won't be accepting your PR if you give us wrong format.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it may lead to conflict. So just follow this format. I think it's very clear here. So so this is the year blog post. Yeah, so Markdown is basically a file format. So using Markdown, you can all you need to do is write code in Markdown here, and it will just create a post. Okay, so let me create a post first. So 2021 01 01 IMT 2019, I'll say the 000 dot mark down. Okay, so I'll just copy the sample post. So this is test user say Ishan. Okay, subtitle about me. Just let's keep it the same way. I'll just say Ishan again. And I'll just use the same image. What you guys could do is you could add your own images in the image for the blog in the image folder, and just add the address of the file.
Yeah, and instructions for those and the naming convention are also written in the blog post, the first one.
Optimus, this is not compulsory, dude. This is just an activity for you guys to learn. It's not. You could sign up anytime. It's not an issue. It's not like we have to do it right now. Anyways, we have ran out of time. So we'll post this video on YouTube, and you guys could follow along and get back to us if you have any doubts.
But general advice is sign up as soon as possible.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just give it same guidance and all. I'll just keep the things same. You could make changes as you wish. Okay. Now I made the change, and I've added the link about me. So author. Yeah, so author is Ishan again, and right. If we don't need to add the wait, I'll just say test user again. Hang on. I'll say Ishan. That's fine. Yeah, cool. So what I'll do is now. Can you guys see this terminal, or should I open the default one, like not in the editor?
No, you can see it, bro. Continue.
Okay, cool. So now I will stage this file. So now I'll just add I'll say git add posts, and that is 2021. Yeah, so git add post, and I've added the address to the file. I'll stage the file. now when I say git status, it will say that a new file has been created and changes are yet to be committed. Okay, so I'll just write a commit git commit dash message new post. So 18 insertions, one file changed, and now I will push changes onto the forked version of the repository, which is called origin. So I'll show you again. See, this is the remote where I want to push the commit onto. Are you guys able to understand this? Okay. So I'll say git push origin and the branch on which I want to push changes. So yeah, so if you guys want to see the branches you have, you could just say git branch. Git branch would show you on which branch you have pushed the commit onto, the branch on which you have committed to, and then you could push the commit onto this branch, and it would be reflected on GitHub. So now I'll add the name of the branch, and when I just enter, it would push the commit onto GitHub. See, so what it has done is it has pushed the commit, which was new post, onto GH pages. The branch is GH pages, and the branch is on my repository. So let me show you GitHub. You guys will now able to understand what we have been talking all along. So I'll go to my fork. See, so what it says is this branch is one commit ahead and 2 commits behind Zen's GH pages. So so I as Ruturaj said, I have not been working on a file which was being worked on previously, so it wouldn't lead to a merge conflict. Okay, I'll also show you guys how to sync your forked repository with the main repo. So I'll get to that soon. So now what I'll do is I'll just click on compare. See, it would say able to merge, and as I have been working on a file which was not being worked on by somebody else, right? So it wouldn't lead to any conflict. So I can just create a pull request. It will say, hey, I could just add a comment onto my pull request, which is, hey, added a new post, check it out. And what the owner of the branch, owner of the repository, yeah, so the base repo, the pull request is also always created from the forked repository to the main repository. Ruturaj, would you like to elaborate on this? Hello?
Ruturaj is not here.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fine. See, so the pull request is always created from the forked repository, which is the copied version of your the main repository onto your account, and from the forked repository to the main repository. Okay, so now I'll create a pull request. The pull request is basically telling the owner of the repository that hey, I just want to add some changes onto this repository, and the owner of the repository would then review your pull request and merge the pull request. Here it is showing merge pull request because I am the owner of this owner of the main repository. But unless you're not an owner, or if you don't have merge permissions, it will just this button would be gray, so you will not be able to merge it. Heath Vasani, why we are requesting for pull if remote? Why we are requesting for pull if remote?
Okay, yeah. So I'll take that question. Basically, so you have two repositories, right? The first repository that you forked and the next repository that was the original repository. Now, suppose that original repository is like Circuitverse. Everybody is using Circuitverse, but the code for Circuitverse is coming from the repository that you had forked earlier. So that is the main repository everybody is using. Nobody is using your version of the repository, right? So you want a way to convey your code changes to somehow meet in the main repository that everyone's using. So a pull request is basically you taking your repository to the owner and showing it, see, these are the changes I've made. I want you to put these changes into the main code so that everyone can use it. So that's essentially what a pull request does.
Okay, so I've now created a pull request with now see Vijay has said that discussions take place here. They would see the pull request would show what files I've made changes in, and see, and green is like I have only added things, I have not removed anything. So it's plus 18 and minus 0. So I have not removed any line and I've added 18 lines into the project. I want to add 18 lines to the project, and then the owner of the repository would just comment on this pull request if he wants changes. So we will not get into that right now, but if he likes the changes you want to make onto his repository, he would just merge this pull request. So Vijay, you could merge this pull request and we could show them how the changes would be now shown on the website.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there you go.
See, so the commit has been merged, and now if I go to the repository and now to the website,
let's come.
It will now say, oh wait.
It will take a few minutes.
Yeah, it will take a few minutes because it's building from scratch again.
Yeah, but you guys got how to make a pull request, right? That's the important
Yeah,
thing.
that's more important. Yeah, GitHub would actually, before you create a pull request, it would check if the pull request you are creating would have any conflicts. It would tell that to you initially, because if it has conflicts, it won't allow you to create a pull request. And you would need to settle those changes. Like you need to fix those changes locally onto your fork version, and then only you could create a pull request. Is that clear? Yeah, Chaitanya, don't worry. It's just a basic tutorial, but we could add on to the blog, like I did now. Okay. So somebody.
By the way, were you talking about like conflicts? Ishan?
Sorry? Yeah, no. Somebody was asking that will the conflicts be told to us before creating a pull request? I don't know.
Well, yeah, actually you can make a pull request even if there are conflicts. Only that the pull request cannot be merged with conflicts. You can still create a pull request.
So that is pointless, right?
Yeah, it's kind of pointless. Otherwise, the person who has to merge the pull request will have to resolve the conflict. Either you do it or they'll have to do it before merging. So it's not recommended that you create pull requests with conflicts. You should resolve them yourself.
Can somebody see the changes? I think the build is taking some time.
Oh, Ishan, a cache problem.
Cache
Everyone
problem.
else can see.
Okay, cool.
Just
Okay, fine.
shift
Yeah,
refresh.
it's cached, I think. Yeah, right. You're right.
Just open in incognito. I think it will be fixed. I don't know.
You can just
Okay.
shift refresh.
Whatever,
Shift
you
and then
get the
click the.
point, right? He basically made a change here. It got reflected there. After some time, it doesn't matter. That's what you guys also would be doing now with your name and photo and stuff. It's just basically a hands-on introduction. It's although we can have something like write your name in this file and make a pull request, it doesn't serve any practical purpose, right? Here at least you can get to know each other, or if not, other members of Zen can get to know you, etc., etc.
Did you guys follow the tutorial?
Yeah, you're right. It's here. So can you guys see my screen?
Right. Yeah, on and off is fine. Actually, we don't very expect you to absolutely know everything after just 1.5 hours of this, because
Yeah, man. Like,
honestly,
GitHub is
all of us
complex.
took
Yeah.
a good
Lot of
amount
time.
of time to understand all this, like more than like 6 months and stuff to understand all this. So
It's just
like,
practice.
we don't
Like,
expect you to understand it just in
you
an
need
hour
to
and a
fail
half.
first to learn, right?
Yeah. You'll understand this as you try to do more open source and stuff. You'll get a grip of it really quick. This is just to tell you what and all is there, what all exists. So in case tomorrow you need to do something like this, you'll be like, oh yeah, I know this exists and I can just Google it.
Okay, so yeah, one last thing what I wanted to show you guys is
ask them to make a PR, no?
Sorry?
We have to ask them to make a PR with their stuff.
Yeah, we'll do that. Just one last thing I wanted to show them.
Yeah.
So get remote v, it's showing us the origin and the upstream where we are pushing changes onto and we are fetching it. Like origin is the branch, is the forked version, and upstream is the main version. So this is clear now, right? But now the
सात राउंड भाई कितना बड़ा टूर्नामेंट है बे हाँ अगर बहुत सारे टीम होते तो
amazing.
There's some Valorant tournament, right? Okay, fine. Let's get back to it. Yeah, so upstream is the main repo. So you guys, so it's clear till now, right? Yeah. Okay. So now, actually, the fork version of my repository or the changes which I have locally is not in sync with the main repo. So what I will do is, yeah, so Rudransh, you'll see now what is the point of adding upstream. What I'll do is I will fetch the changes on the main repository and add it locally onto my machine. Okay. So all the commits which were pushed onto the upstream repository, repository will now be reflected onto my local machine. Okay. So,
yeah, so
some of the changes.
So the gist of adding upstream is that in case you want your local repository to be completely up to date with what the main repository is, in this case Zen's repository. So if you want your local repository to be up to date with the Zen's repository, you will have to do something called as fetching. You have to fetch it from there, from upstream.
So now the command is git fetch. I'll specify the repository, that is the upstream repo from where I will be fetching changes, and the branch from where I will be fetching changes.
Wait, you don't need to specify. You can only, it'll fetch everything. Yeah.
Git fetch. Oh no, we'll add this also, no?
I mean, yeah, it'll just fetch everything if you don't.
No, it will just fetch in. Okay, fine. I'll just say git fetch upstream.
Yeah. You can merge whatever you want to merge.
Yeah. So what it has done is it just fetch the changes from the upstream repository. Like changes were made into one branch called Dockerization and changes in GH pages. And now to merge these changes onto my local machine, there I'll use the command git merge.
So yeah, so actually this creates new branches on your local itself. So you see upstream/gh pages, right? So it actually created that branch upstream/gh pages. But now you need to merge the upstream/gh pages onto gh pages, right?
Yeah, right.
So upstream/gh pages is the branch. This is also on your local machine. So in this case, upstream is just like a upstream/gh pages is a complete name. There is nothing special about upstream/ in this case. It's just the name upstream/gh pages which it created, and now you need to merge upstream/gh pages onto gh pages.
So git merge upstream/gh pages. So I'm specifying the branch of the repository whose commits I want to merge into my local machine onto this branch. So yeah, so the merge command will actually merge the changes onto your current branch. So I'm currently on gh pages, right? So it will just merge the commits from upstream gh pages onto origin gh pages. No, not origin gh pages, the local branch.
Yeah, local gh pages. It doesn't do origin.
Ishan, just a minute. I think people are telling it's already a lot for today. So upstream is anyways not required for the exercise that they have to do, right?
Yeah,
so we can.
Actually, I think that's fine. After merge, we can stop.
Yeah,
also, the thing is, we're uploading this to YouTube, so in case in future they have to refer.
Exactly.
So they need not understand this in one hour. I don't think they will understand this in one hour.
So git
they can
merge
go back and visit.
gh pages. See, so what it did is it just fetch changes from README and index, and yeah, the fun activity is posting about yourself onto the website. That is the exercise you guys need to try it out. And from that you'll learn what pull requests are, what committing is, what branches are.
Yeah, just make a page like Ishan did over there and push it.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone said right now you can't do anything with GitHub, as most of us don't know enough programming to contribute.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, so
you can learn on your own. Mostly you have to learn on your
own. We created this website so that you don't need to know anything about programming. You could just follow this format, create a post here, add an image here, and just link it into the post, and stage the file and commit the file, and then push changes onto your origin, and then create a pull request. That's all. So there's no programming required. That's why we created this activity.
This is the only Git. Like you don't need to know any programming for this activity.
Exactly.
Yes. Is it possible to do it without VS Code? Yes. VS Code is just an editor.
VS Code is just an editor.
Anyway, this is just a terminal, right? It's as good as your terminal or your WSL. Same thing.
Is it possible to do it? Oh yeah, okay, fine. So that's one minute. So yeah, so I pushed git merge upstream gh pages. So now it has just fetched the changes from the upstream into my local branch here, which is 2BC, whatever. Okay, so I think that's all for today.
Just to recap, I hope you know what merge does, right? I explained you with the diagram. That it just takes whatever commits were from, let's say, in this case, we merged GH pages onto, upstream/GH pages onto GH pages, right? So it just took the commits from upstream/GH pages and added them on top of GH pages. All it did.
But that also introduces scope for merge conflict. Yes. That's why we wanted to avoid merge, but okay.
Yeah, fine. It's just you could just have a look at it on YouTube.
Which YouTube channel? We'll share the link, I guess.
Please like, share, subscribe.
See, and also the GitHub documentation is very good, right? It's very basic. So you guys just Google and just see the GitHub documentation if you face any issues.
Wait, I'll add the YouTube channel link as well.
Okay, so.
YouTube link is on the website.
So so the activity for you guys is to fork the repository onto your account, and then clone it onto your local machine. Then create a post, add your image onto it, create a background image, add the author image, and author image is not there right now, guys?
No, they're not required. Not
Yeah,
required.
okay. So author image is not required. So you could just add a background image of your choice and then stage the file, that is the post. And also you also need to stage the image file, right? Do you guys get that? You also need to stage the image file which you have added.
Rituraj, can you share the YouTube link once? I guess people got a 404 on it.
I think that's the correct link. I think people are not including the -A. Also include the -A, guys.
Yeah, I'll
Don't
put it
include
on
the
the
comma.
Just put the separate link once without a message.
That's the link.
Yeah,
Just
cool.
copy it.
So then stage the file, commit with an appropriate message which explains about the changes you have made, and then push it onto your forked repository, that is the default branch GH pages, or you could create a new branch if you want to learn more, and then just create a pull request and we'll take care after that. So you guys can start with this activity now. We'll end the meet, but you guys can get back to us if you face any issues through mail, or we'll take care regarding that if you face any issues. Don't worry. So I think I'll stop sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a lot of actually the Square One team was getting a lot of requests for a freshers video. So if you want to create a fresher video, you could create one on YouTube, add a link into the post, and that's all. Yeah, this way we could also get to know your juniors very well. So I think we should get to see about 150 blog posts on the website in 3.
How much is you guys' strength? Their batch strength? What is your batch strength?
I guess it's around 140, 150. I'm not sure.
145, someone says 144, 145. That's good.
Yeah, don't start spamming blogs over there. Like one guy making 5, 6.
Yeah, don't do that. If you're because just give. We need to view a lot of pull requests then, right? And yeah, guys, be very careful with the Markdown format, because if you don't follow the Markdown format, there is a chance that the build would not be successful, right? So, anyways, we'll if you
Yeah, don't worry. If you have any doubt, just make the PR anyway. We'll tell you if there is any changes required. Because at the end of the day, we will be merging the PRs. So it's not like you'll do something and it will break the website. That won't happen.
Yeah, that won't happen. We're just telling you guys to be careful. Yeah. Okay, so we'll share one. We'll share the video link soon. I think that's all for this session.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Can I take one last question?
Yeah, sure.
People are texting me personally.
Yeah.
Yes, someone asked me that.
Okay.
Can I go ahead with? Can I work without Git? Yes, I didn't actually get like what your question is. You're telling that is it fine if I don't learn Git? Yeah.
For the first 6 months, you'll think that it is a good thing, but after the 6 months, you'll automatically say Git is.
I think it's
I didn't hear the question.
I think it's basically asking, can I avoid Git throughout my
entire life?
Yeah. Someone wants to take this question?
I mean, at some point,
you can't.
Maybe not instantly, maybe.
So
after you go to a company, you have to do this. I think, I'm not sure.
Right now,
you will have to work.
Yeah, but even.
Oh my God.
That's fine if you don't learn right now. Obviously, you will not be able to fully learn.
Okay, we'll also post a form. So if you guys have any issues or have any questions, we'll just get back to you. on that. We'll send I think we'll send a mail with the commonly asked questions, and that's all. And we'll also share the link to the presentation. And also, I think the material which we had shared with you guys a week ago, not a week ago, I think 2 weeks ago, it's very it's complete actually. Like you wouldn't require anything else. There are a lot of videos on YouTube which frankly explain a lot better than us. Like this is the first time we are explaining Git to someone, and we're also beginners, right? So
yeah, I started doubting my own Git when I started explaining.
Same.
So whatever doubts you have, just Google it, watch it on YouTube. Everything's available. That's how we did it. That's how you will do it. Yeah, so that's it.
You can ask us, but make sure you Googled thoroughly before you ask, because mostly you'll get answers on Google.
Stack Overflow, man, always. You'll get everything on it.
Yeah, but you don't go to Stack Overflow and search. You search on Google, then you'll go to Stack Overflow.
Just Google it. Stack Overflow is the first thing. And Git documentation.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll end this meeting.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
So thank you for joining us. Like
bye-bye.
There were a lot of people. So thanks. And we had some really good doubts.